Welcome to Mastering Local Marketing. My name is Matt Hansen, your host, and today we are discussing when your local marketing strategy doesn't match your business. So I want to tell you a little bit of a story. Recently, my daughter and I have been receiving information from this one company, and we get emails and we get direct mail pieces. We've been on their website, we've seen digital ads, and they've built up this reputation. They have a reputation, but all of the marketing is top-notch quality. Their pieces are amazing. Even the direct mail pieces that they send out to potential customers are absolutely amazing. So why am I telling you this? The reason is we decided to go visit this company, and the real experience didn't necessarily match the marketing that was being sent to us or that we were seeing out there online. The real experience actually told a very different story. So it was the service and the atmosphere and even the process of going through things within the store did not reflect the quality message that they're putting out there to the world. And why am I bringing this up? Well, I think the biggest thing that you have to understand is that is going to create a lot of confusion with a potential customer or even an existing customer, right? So we expected a certain level of experience when we walked into this company, and quite honestly, it just wasn't there. We kind of felt like we were going to a party that we didn't know anybody, and we were just kind of floundering around and trying to figure out why it was so different than what we expected. So why does this hurt your local marketing? I think the biggest thing is that strong marketing is amazing and can help get people into your door, but that disconnected experience actually starts to break trust fast, right? So, customers start to remember that inconsistent feeling, that moment that they went, something's not right here. And then they start to share those stories with others. So for example, it's about 1:30 in the afternoon as we're recording today, and I've probably told 4 or 5 individuals about our experience, and it's been less than 24 hours. And we're getting the same reaction from each and every person that we talk to in the fact that they thought they had certain expectations, but they're kind of shocked that the experience that we received was average at best. Right. So we were looking for certain things, certain promises that were kind of put out there, but they weren't being delivered. Now, I think the biggest message that we're kind of talking about for small businesses here is that the goal of your company needs to align all things, right? So in academia, we call it an integrated marketing communication plan, but what we're talking about is you can build a brand and you can build it to a certain quality, right? So in this case, we're talking about a very high level brand that many people would love to have, right? But when you put the brand against the service, against the delivery, the three aren't matching up. And what you wonder at that point is, okay, is the marketing kind of all bells and whistles, all the great things, but then if I were to buy this, is the experience going to be the same that I felt when I walked into that store? And that's huge, right? So you can have the greatest marketing in the world and driving people in that front door, but if they're experiencing something that makes them uncomfortable or it's not what they experience, you're not going to convert them to customers. They may buy short term, but if that's the experience that they're getting, I highly suggest changing it because you're not going to keep them. You're not going to have a long-term customer there. Your lifetime value is just going to be short. So what are some of the questions that business owners should ask? I think the first thing is, are customers getting what they expected? So obviously we're telling those stories today about a company that we dealt with, but go back and start to think about some of the stores, some of the restaurants, some of the service providers that you've dealt with in the past and the expectations that you've had. Have you written a negative review? Have you walked into a store and you fully anticipated that it was going to be dolled up to the nines, but you walk in and there's clothes all over the place, or there's boxes all over the place, or worse yet, somebody's sitting at the counter eating their lunch and getting food all over the place. It's not really setting the same expectation of what your marketing is doing. The second one that I would ask is, where are we creating this disconnect without realizing it? And it's funny because we were actually, as we're going through and we're kind of checking this company out, I don't think they realized what was going on. And I was almost sitting there and I was waiting for somebody to ask me what we thought, or just to even really kind of talk to us. And it just wasn't happening. And I know this sounds a little like I'm expecting a lot, but this is a brand that promises this. And that's why I'm bringing this out, is when you make these promises to potential customers, the customers will expect it when they get there. Now, if you're telling me you're going to give me average service and you have average products and all this other stuff, then I get it. Like, I'm not going to be offended. But you've set a level of expectation. You've taken that bar and you've risen it to a level that I expected to see. And I'm sure you have plenty of these out there that you've done in the past. Certain brand new restaurant comes out, everyone's raving about it, and you go, and it's okay, right? But these are the things that we have to constantly address. We have to look internal, maybe even send in a secret shopper every once in a while to just get some feedback as to how it was really being received from a customer standpoint. Now, I hope many of you may not do this, but I hope they send us a nice email asking us how our experience was, because I will make some comments just to say, here was the expectation, and here's some of the things that we would add in the future to make it a better experience. I'm not going to give them 1 stars or anything like that, but I feel like they did a decent job. They did an average job, but they promised prestigious, right? That next level, that luxury level, and it just wasn't being delivered. So again, a couple of takeaways that I want to take away from this is great local marketing can actually not fix a mismatched experience. What you want to do is you want to have great marketing, a great brand, a great service and experience in your store, and push them all together so it feels like a cohesive experience instead of 2 separated companies, right? So if you have great marketing and then you have a horrible or an average experience in store, those are 2 different messages. Those aren't going to fit well together. The strongest businesses actually make sure the brand and the real world experiences say the same thing, right? So let's go back to the luxury here, right? So if you're providing luxury messages and you're sending things through the mail that are just steps above what everybody else is doing, but then you come in and you experience the exact same thing in the store, those don't match. But if we can get those together, if we can get the in-store experience and the marketing together and they're fully intertwined and they're working together, marketing gets so much more powerful, right? So I wanted to touch base with you. This is going to be a short session today just because I'm out of the studio and I'm traveling. But I wanted to give you just an experience that I had this week. And I thought it was interesting because just realize marketing is a huge, great tool, but it may make some promises that you can't keep. So make sure that your internal experience in the store, in the company, is the exact same as the marketing promise that you're putting out there. All right, until next time, make sure you subscribe on Apple and Spotify, and we will see you then.